Hello and welcome. This is View from the Top. I'm Modele Sharafai, so thank you for joining us. At the Nigeria Economic Summit 2015, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo took a swipe at the judiciary. He said, and I quote, "If you have a judicial system that is not trustworthy, you cannot have progress." And in a moment of introspection, former Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Dahiru Mustafa, once said, and I quote, "Since the judiciary exists for the benefit of the society, then the essential verdict regarding our performance must be from those we serve. As it stands, it appears that the society we serve is not entirely satisfied with our performance," end of quote. At that same forum, which was at the opening of the 2011-2012 legal year, the then NBA President Joseph Daudu provided a more damning assessment of the judiciary. He said there was a growing perception backed up by empirical evidence that justice is purchasable, and it has been purchased on several occasions in Nigeria. He said further that the public is not only dissatisfied with the performance of the judiciary, but it is also entirely upset with the quality of judicial verdicts and the integrity of some of the men and women who serve in the judiciary. Is it as bad as it sounds? Today, I have the privilege of speaking with the former Chief Justice of Nigeria, Honorable Justice Alfa Belgore, and today, together, we'll be discussing law and the administration of justice. Your Lordship, thank you for joining us. Before we settle down to our conversation, here is a quick biography. Justice Salihu Modibo Alfa Belgore was born on January 17, 1937 in Ilorin. He attended Ilesha Grammar School, where he obtained the West Africa School Certificate in 1956. He pursued a correspondence advanced level course and later received a bachelor's degree in law in 1964. On his return to the country, he served as Associate Magistrate in the Judiciary of Northern Nigeria, and in 1977 he was appointed Chief Judge of Plateau State. He remained in that position until 1979, when he became a Justice of the Court of Appeal, and after serving in this office for 6 years, he was elevated to the Supreme Court bench in 1986. Justice Alfa Belgore became the 9th indigenous Chief Justice of Nigeria and served in that capacity between 2006 and 2007. He is currently Chairman of the Board of Directors of Airtel Nigeria. Let me start by asking you, in a keynote address you presented in Asaba at the Conference of All Nigerian Judges of the Lower Courts in 2006, I remember you saying that as interpreter of the law, I'm quoting you now, it would be ironic for the judges to be found on the wrong side of the law by being partisan and by accepting bribes, which gives me the impression that at that time you had some concerns about the conduct of judges. How much better have things become since then?
At that time, the number of states not as high as we have now. But now, very few states in the north will have less than 15 judges. So you can see the spread within limited period. The result is this. In some cases, politics dictated the person to be appointed, not looking at the standard. Apart from what is written of the candidate, we hardly know some of them. Some of them may be very good lawyers in court, but we're unable to trace fully the background of some of them. The result is that some will become judges and will start misbehaving, which is very embarrassing. But what I can assure you is that it's very, very minute in number, the number of judges of this character that are appointed.
So the problem is not as widespread as people like to believe, or as they like to insinuate?
No. In some states, when you have 2 or 3 judges that are bad, it gives a very bad impression for the remaining judges, who may be 17, 20. So at first they may start looking at the state, but if it applies to Court of Appeal, then we shall have problem. We seem to have almost Court of Appeal, which is a federal institution in each state. That is too much.
Could that be as a consequence of the population? The fact that we're so many people, 170 million and counting?
Not necessarily. You see, what has caused the problem of expanding Court of Appeal is because so many lawyers who are practicing want to appear in these higher courts so as to be made senior advocates of Nigeria for the number of cases they have done. So that is the problem we have. But it's not widespread. I can assure you, maybe up to 80% of the judges are very good up to now, very honest, very hardworking, and learned, which is very important too.
You know, Your Lordship, corruption is apparently not the only problem of the judiciary, the only perceived problem of the judiciary. Delay and denial of justice are two things that tend to make people take the laws into their own hands. How can we speed things up?
Well, you see, the delay is caused not by the judges. It is caused by the lawyers. They want to adjourn. Probably their clients have not been able to satisfy them as they want. It's not a good thing for cases to be delayed for too long a time. The procedure is all right. We have not computerized fully. Maybe when we computerize fully, lawyers will even not appear. All their facts will be in the computer.
You just mentioned something, which is the ability of lawyers to manipulate and frustrate the legal system. I once spoke with Mr. Olisa Agbakoba about this, and he said, well, it is the judges who allow it, that if a judge put his foot down, trial will continue, but that the judges are as culpable.
Well, I will tell you, in my years, right from being a little magistrate to being a judge of the High Court, chief judge in one state, I would not allow such a thing. Once I know you are wasting time, I strike out the case. It's up to you to come back. But if you are not ready, I've fixed the date, 2 days for hearing, and you have come, you are saying you are not going to hear it. Well, the two of you, the opponent, what do you feel? Then my own feeling is that we are wasting our time. I struck out the case. Of course, you can't do that one in most of the criminal cases, because if you strike it out, the criminal may be released and he will run away. But you make sure that before you go, before you open, all the witnesses are there. We have seen the depositions of the witnesses, everything, just to go to court and hear them so that they can be cross-examined and re-examined.
Before we leave the issue of the slow pace of justice, I remember India has a similar problem. And I remember hearing the former Chief Justice of India, Justice J.S. Verma, say that one innovative way of clearing the backlog is to get retired justices to help work on cases. He said these people are paid a pension in any case, and that they would relish the opportunity of staying useful and continue to contribute. Do you think this would work here?
I don't think it will work. You see, majority of the judges have no birth certificate. Some of them will say, I'm 55. By the time he's been appointed, probably it's over 60. And you bring him, it's not in good health. So it is dangerous. And of course, may God save us, they may start mentioning corruption. Some judges may retire and all their investment might have gone. So it is better to rely on serving judges in Nigeria. Once you get judges, good people as judges, the country will succeed.
We have to take a break at this point. Please join us again.